Are you thinking about moving to Florida, but you're wondering what the market is doing? Well, stick around because that's what I'm talking about today. What's up, everybody? It's April Laura, your Florida realtor, and I am going to be talking about what the market is doing. It's actually early February 2023, and I'll be going over the December numbers because those are the ones that are out. It does take a little bit for those numbers to be accumulated and dispersed out to us, but we will be going over it today, and I'll be talking about a couple different things. So if this is your first time to my channel and you want to know everything there is about working, eating, sleeping, playing, and living in Florida, then make sure you tap that subscribe button and ring the little bell so you're notified every time I do a new video. My team and I help people relocate here every single day, and we absolutely love it. I love putting this information out and helping you get to know the area and what it's like to live here or move here. And as much as I like doing these videos, I'd love even more to help you with your real estate needs. So make sure you give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, somehow get in touch with us because we've got your back when you're moving to Florida. Now let's go talk about the current market. All right, now let's talk about what's going on. What's the current temperature in the market right now? And I'm pretty much talking about Palm Beach County, where, you know, there's Boca Raton, Delray Beach, West Palm Beach, Boynton Beach, Wellington, Jupiter, Palm Beach Gardens, all these great places. Of course, we do service other areas in Florida, but I'm specifically, when it comes to the numbers, talking about that county, Palm Beach County. A lot of people want to know, is there a crash happening? Are people slashing prices? I know you've probably come across a lot of different video content on YouTube from a lot of different people that are putting things out. The fact of the matter is, there hasn't been like a huge drop. I have maintained pretty busy in the last several months, although it does depend on the price point and who the buyer is. There have been a few people that were trying to move here late summer into the fall that were coming from, let's just say, Midwestern states and had their homes on the market. And quite frankly, they had to start dropping their prices way earlier than that happened here in South Florida in Palm Beach County.
Nice.
A few of them never were able to sell. They took their homes off the market. I'm not sure if they're still planning on moving to Florida, or most likely they're probably waiting it out. Some of them have expressed that they're going to wait it out. Some of them are just upset that, you know, it kind of changed so drastically that they weren't able to sell their home for a higher price in order to move here. Some people were definitely affected and were not able to buy here, but possibly in the future. Now, some people decided to rent out their home. We're still able to do that because they did have a good amount saved up. So it really depends on the buyer, and there are several buyers that are still out there and they're able to buy. They're continuing on with their plans to purchase a home. We have remained somewhat busy, definitely on the busier side. It's not like it's a neutral market yet, and you'll see that when I go over the numbers. The other thing is, I kind of wanted to mention a couple of things. Well, today is actually February 6th, and I'm going to be releasing this content this Friday. So as of today, the interest rate has actually come down a little bit. So it's come down about 1/4 of a point. And so the interest rates right now are in the mid to high fives. Of course, that's if you really have a great credit score and, you know, your debt to income ratio are on point. So I'm talking about the, you know, one of the best case scenarios. Of course, the interest rates are lower than they used to be. And I just got off the phone with one of my lenders earlier today, and they told me that they are expecting the interest rates later in the year to come down. You never know, but that is what's happening. So in January each year, in Florida, and it definitely in the south part of Florida, we have an uptick of activity. That's normal. It's our busier season. It is winter season, which is the most beautiful time of the year. And I gotta tell you, it's been gorgeous. If I'm not out showing homes on the weekends, I'm definitely out enjoying the sun, the breeze. I mean, it's just been absolutely gorgeous. I'm either going to a green market, going to an art festival, going to see live music out and about. Last weekend I went to the Jupiter Beer Fest, which they had like a thing at Roger Dean Stadium in the evening, the Friday before. It was like a beer and food pairing thing that we go to every year. And then the following day, was the beer festival, and it was all outside, and I thought it was going to be a little bit cooler than it was. I was still able to wear somewhat of a winter outfit being outside, but it wasn't as cool as it normally is. But it was very enjoyable, and I love being outside this time of year. Every weekend, like I said, I just want to be outside all day long instead of going out in the evenings, which is kind of normal. Sometimes it gets so hot in Florida that I just don't want to be out in the daytime. That's, you know, in the warmer weathered months. I don't want to be out in the daytime. I'd rather just wait until the sun goes down and then go out in the evenings. But this time of year, it's gorgeous. Go out on the boat, go out during the day, get out, go biking, go golfing, do some tennis outside. Whatever it is that you like to do, you can do it outside and just enjoy the beautiful outdoor living and lifestyle we have here.
Have fun in Florida.
So getting back to the market and what it's doing. So one other thing I wanted to mention, which came up in one of my contracts, and this does come up every once in a while, and I figured I'd put this information out. I mean, this channel is all about educating you and understanding the little differences that you need to think of and look at and have in mind when you are buying in Florida. We just came across, I'm in a contract with some of my buyers. You know, I have a lot of resources, whatever it is that you need, whether you need a lender, an insurance agent, a mover, what have you. Some people are moving here from different countries, so they need an immigration attorney. I have lots of resources, and I sent out my home insurance agent's email to this buyer because they were at that stage in the contract, and we were almost done with inspection period. We had already negotiated a couple things. There were very little things wrong with this house, and we got a very small credit, but we actually only got about half of what the buyer really wanted because the seller stood firm. The good news was the buyer was pretty happy because the house, although was older, it was completely renovated, absolutely beautiful, and very, very little wrong with the house. The very next day, it was the last day of the inspection period, we get information from one of my insurance agents, and she's very good. She ran the loss on the home, and she found out that there was an insurance claim. So this is what I want to talk about. It's really important to know that in Florida, especially how crazy the insurance companies have been lately, it's an issue with old roofs and all types of things that they're dinging homeowners for, and your home insurance can be very expensive depending on what type of home you buy. What I want to explain is that, especially with any kind of water intrusion, any kind of claim that was made on a home will kind of stick to that home. It'll be attached to that home for the next 5 years. And this will and can affect the next buyer. So this is what happened in this instance. There was some kind of a water intrusion claim, and it was not disclosed on the seller's disclosure. So I was pretty upset because that most certainly should have been done on a seller's disclosure. The seller's agent for this home did not even have a seller's disclosure. I asked for it because I asked for it when I'm representing a buyer, because I want to know everything that has been done to this home from the seller's standpoint. And that's what the seller's disclosure is all about. If you've owned this home for however many years, you need to disclose what has been done or what has happened or has anything happened to this home while you were living in it. Obviously, this house had a lot done to it because they renovated the complete house. It was gutted pretty much and renovated. So I definitely wanted a seller's disclosure. I asked for it. We did have to follow up, and we finally got it a few days later, and there was no indication of any kind of home insurance claim on that seller's disclosure. So I was very surprised to hear that, you know, the insurance agent, which again, not every insurance agent does a run loss. So when you are getting insurance quotes, make sure you ask, is this quote done with, were you able to do a run loss? Because what a lot of agents will do is they will give you a quote, but then they'll do the run loss later. So if that run loss comes out later, your insurance premium can very easily go up, or there will be a lot of carriers that maybe won't insure, or if they do insure, it will be at a higher price point. It's just a little tidbit of information that might help you, but my agent, she did do the run loss. She found the information. She's not legally allowed to tell us what happened, but you can, you know, you deduct things and go, okay, there was an insurance claim on this house. I called the listing agent immediately and said, hey, to our surprise, this is what's happening, and she was shocked.
Thanks for the heads up.
She knew nothing about it. She called the seller immediately. The seller says that, oh yes, there was a claim. It was done in whatever year. She was off actually by 2 years, what she thought it was and what it was actually done. She thought it was 18, it was in 2020.
I actually don't remember much.
But, maybe she just had a poor memory, or sometimes you have an issue and then you don't have the claim until later. So that does happen. It didn't really make my buyer feel 100% comfortable. There is a level of trust, and good faith when you're going into a contract. So I guess that was one of the main things. And we did find out from the seller that there was some water intrusion and it was fixed. And so the listing agent and I were discussing it, and she's like, what can we do? What can we do to make this better? And so I requested that she ask the seller for all the documentation from the insurance claim and obviously whoever did the work. Like, let's get this all out in the open now that we know about it, and let's give it to the buyer and see how they feel about it. Well, come to find out, there was the insurance claim. They were paid out as the seller, and the seller had their family member and friend fix the leakage, which was around the skylight. That wasn't really great. Although we did find out it was a small leak. I think they got about $8,000 back in the claim from what I understand. And so there was no documentation. Well, not great, but thank goodness my buyer also had an incredible inspector, and I have his contact. He's really great. He does a lot of local work, and they felt very, very comfortable with that property inspection. In fact, that inspector did discover other things about the house because that house was under contract once before, and our inspector found things that the other inspector never found. So long story short, we renegotiated and my buyers ended up getting everything they wanted originally with the inspection report to make them feel more comfortable and to move forward, because they knew enough about the claim and where it was and the work that had been done. And with the really good inspection report, they felt like it wasn't something that was going to stop them from moving forward, but it was another point that we were able to go back, renegotiate, pretty much get everything they wanted originally for the inspection report, and it made them feel much better. But my point to you is make sure that you know all the ins and outs. You're working with somebody who knows all of these things when it comes to Florida homes, Florida home insurance, Florida inspections, all types of things. All the things need to be covered. So with that being said, let's get into the latest report as far as the market numbers, because that's what you're really here for. All right, so what I have here is November 22 and December 22, and of course on each one, it has the numbers for 2021 numbers. So I'm gonna concentrate on December and maybe relay back to November every so often. But as you can see, December numbers, the closed sales were 999 and they were significantly down, 37.6% from the year prior. And then also the paid in cash has decreased as well, so 29.9. Even though we do have a lot of cash sales in Florida, that has decreased. This is in Palm Beach County. Median sales price did not come down. It's not a negative. It's a increase by 3.8%. All right, but last year the median sale price was $565. So it has definitely come down, but not from December 2021. So compared to November 2022, it has decreased a little bit, but it's still up from last year, November 2021 and December 2021, right? It's 545. So the average sales price has decreased 18.1% since last year. The dollar volume also almost 50%, 48.9%. So that is, kind of a drastic decrease for in 1 year, but we all know that the last couple of years were hyper inflated. Taking that into consideration, it's a little bit more understandable. So you'll see that the original list price to the offer price received and closed on is still in the 90s, 93.3%. So we are still getting kind of close to what the original list price is. And it's taking much longer from last year to go into contract. And that is 36 days, which is more of a normal market, quite frankly, at 77 days time to sell. So that has increased also about 30.5%. And then new pending sales are 904 as opposed to last year when everybody was was listing their homes because they could get top dollar, it was $1,370. New listings, we have 1,076, which is nice because we definitely still need inventory. Again, in January, this is our busier season, so this is a good number to see. Pending inventory is 1,371. That's down 36.5%. Active inventory is 4,042 listings, and that's up 120.6% because homes are definitely sitting on the market a little bit longer. That's why that number is over, it's 120%. And then the months of inventory. So with all of those numbers, right? Like it's taking longer to go into contract. We have more inventory, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? The months of supply is still in a seller's market. It's 3.2%. So if we did not have any more listings come on, it would take us 3.2 months to sell everything, which means it's still a decent amount of demand. It's still a seller's market. Once it starts going into between a 4 and 6 month, around 5 months supply, that is a neutral market. Okay, so anything over 5.5, 6 months, then we're going into a buyer's market. So we're still in a seller's market, and I hope this helps. This is what's happening. Okay, so I always like to end with foreclosures. Here's the foreclosure and short sale numbers. So December of 2022 versus 21, 0 short sales closed in December 22. There were 2 last year. 4 foreclosures closed in December of 22 and 9 in last year. That's pretty telling compared to traditional sales in December 2021 and December 2022. But in order to find that perfect place that you may be thinking of or wanting to go see, make sure you give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, send smoke signals if you need to, somehow get in touch with us because we've got your back when you move to Florida. And until next video, I'll catch you later. As of today, it's other things about the house because the house was under putting out this content will as much as okay.